roster cuts for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 should be expected. So prepare yourselves. Now, why do I say they should be expected? Well, I got two pieces of what I believe are really good pieces of, I don't know if you want to say evidence, but pieces to really kind of sink your teeth into a little bit here. And what do I mean by that? The first piece, which might be the more important of the two, depending on how you want to look at this, but the first piece is actually it's a tweet from the Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 art director, Diego. Some of us might have known this, but if you haven't seen this yet, check this out. He tweeted at the very end of July, a few months ago, Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, the stages, the character models, music, and 98% of the game was built from scratch. Let that sink in. 98% of the game was built from scratch. So this is an entirely new thing. So that's kind of crazy to think. And it's even more crazy to think when we go back and remember the first game, Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 1, that officially released on October 5th of 2021. Now we are less than a month away from the 2-year anniversary. Now, put this into perspective. The first game was kind of bare bones. I think that's fair to say. And with all the new improvements that we've seen to the Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, well, development had to take a little bit more time, especially for story mode, the glow up for the stages, the new animations for characters, and the new characters, the new moves, all that sort of stuff. That's going to take a little bit more time, and especially if you're adding to the roster. Well, maybe sometimes adding to the roster means you also have to subtract from the roster. So what I mean by that is, in the first game, Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 1, once everything was said and done, we had this roster of 25 characters. 25 is actually a pretty solid number for your first entry into a game that maybe gets turned into a series or a franchise, if you will. So 25 characters, which is great. But so far, up to the current time of me recording this video, there are still 11 characters. 11 out of 25. That's almost half of them. 11 out of the 25 characters that are still unaccounted for. That being Sandy, Toph, Lincoln Loud, Leo, Mikey, Shredder, Powdered Toast Man, Cat Dog, Helga, Oblina, and Hugh Neutron. So there's some big names out there that we have yet to see confirmation. Now, I'm not saying that just because we haven't seen them yet doesn't mean they're not coming back. No, maybe they're just saving them. Maybe some of them do get cut and some of them still come back, but they're just not quite ready to be shown yet. That could be the case for any, or maybe even all the characters. Who knows? But with 11 characters still MIA from the first game, and as every day passes, we inevitably get one day closer to Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 and us being able to play the game. So what's kind of worrying is, again, 11 characters that we haven't seen. So why is that worrying? Why do we believe, or at least why is this video telling you to believe that roster cuts are expected? Well, again, it's a Nickelodeon game. So at the end of the day, Nickelodeon is the one that will put their foot down. They have the ultimate final say in in stuff, such as maybe characters that they don't want on the roster or characters that they do want on the roster. You know, ultimately they're the be all end all, right? So if we take a look, here's the evidence piece number 2. It's from Nickelodeon's other game, their other game that they turned into a series, the Nickelodeon Kart Racer. So here's a quick screenshot of the Nickelodeon Kart Racer, the first game. As you can see, there are 12 characters. We got SpongeBob, we got Rugrats, a couple Hey Arnold characters, and the Ninja Turtles. All right, sure, that's fine, I guess. But take note of row 2 there. We see Tommy Pickles and Angelica. Now, why is that? Just keep that in the back of your mind. Because as we look at the character select screen for the second game, well, they improved upon it. They added more characters, which is great. So, as we can see, all the characters from the first game aren't playable in the second game. Awesome, awesome. But keep in mind, you still see Tommy and you still see Angelica in row 2. Also in row 2 at the very far left, we do see Shredder's playable. So, with all that in mind, let's take a look at the most recent iteration of Nickelodeon Kart Racers. Here's the screenshot of the character select screen. Now, as you kind of zoom it over, you kind of go over everything, you will start to notice those characters that I said keep an eye out for. Tommy Pickles, and Angelica, who were both playable in the first 2 versions of the game, are nowhere to be seen. They got cut from the roster. I don't have the reasoning why, but they are gone. So Nickelodeon, even Shredder, like I pointed out, Shredder is not even playable in this in Kart Racer 3. So the point is, Nickelodeon's already shown the ability to cut playable characters, even if they were already in the first 2 games, and now here's your 3rd one. You're supposed to have your biggest and best roster ever, but you cut some very, very iconic, very notable characters in Tommy, Angelica, and Shredder. So that's, I mean, I do think this can be looked at in a certain way of Nickelodeon's already shown in their own games that they're willing to cut fan favorite characters, highly requested characters. They're willing to get rid of characters that are true to what Nickelodeon was ultimately built up. They use those characters to build themselves up, and then they're just gone. So for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, we should be kind of expecting the same thing. Nickelodeon's already shown, like we just said, they've already shown the ability to get rid of those some characters that are very popular. And then, of course, with the tweet at the very beginning from the art director that said 98% of the game has been built from scratch. Now, again, going back to the original release date for Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 1, October 5th, 2021. I think it's pretty safe to say, unless one of the devs said otherwise, which I didn't see, but unless we know otherwise, Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 would not have started development before the first game came out, because the devs said they even wanted 6 additional months to continue with the first game. So Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 is essentially less than 2 years old in development time. Less than 2 years old, and they built it from the ground up with brand new features, new game modes, new characters, and everything. So to save time, are they going to cut some characters? I fully believe they will. And if you want this for another piece of evidence, if you will, take a look at some of the character spotlights that they've done so far. It does kind of seem like they're going through character series in a way. So like the first one that we got was SpongeBob. I believe the second one was Jimmy Neutron. But then we got Squidward, Patrick, and Plankton. And then we haven't gotten any SpongeBob characters after that. So where does that leave Sandy Cheeks? Is she just gone? Is she just cut from the roster? Or is she just not ready to be shown? I don't know. But they went from SpongeBob, then they went through the Ninja Turtles. We already seen Donatello. We've seen Raphael. We've seen April O'Neil. But no Leonardo, no Michelangelo, no Shredder. What's up with that? Are we down to just 3 Ninja Turtle reps? That'd be kind of weird. Everyone's been asking for 4 turtle reps, but I guess that doesn't look likely at the time. Again, something could change, but the point is, the signs are kind of there. Characters are going to be cut. We don't know which ones ultimately, but maybe we can make some educated guess. Again, with the first character select screen here, are they going to cut characters like a cat dog or an Oblina? Characters that they were the sole rep for their franchise. So only one cat dog rep. Are you going to get rid of cat dog altogether as playable reps? Maybe you keep a stage in there. Who knows? Same thing with Oblina. Are you going to replace her with Crumb or Ekis? I don't think so. But then again, we ultimately never know. But the point is, the pieces are out there that we can piece together this puzzle. Characters probably are going to be cut. We just don't know who.